Hi everybody, I'm Jesse, and in this video I'm going to be putting these brand new graphics on this KX100. Now the graphics come from Split Designs. They're a company that offers full customization, rider number, rider name, logo sponsors, the positioning of the logos and sponsors, as well as the coloring. Now these graphics for this KX100 cost about $150 and took just a few days to produce and ship through the mail. Now, as you can see, I've already put brand new plastics on this bike. You can use your old plastics if they're in good condition, but in this video I'm going to show you the methods that I use to apply these graphics to get a professional look. Basically, you're just using a hairdryer or heat gun and a lot of patience. So let's get started.
Whether you are using new or old plastics, you'll want to make sure everything is clean and completely dry. Here I'm using a cloth that's been sprayed with some Windex to remove all the dust, fingerprints, and oils that accumulated during installation. If you're using your old plastics, you need to make sure that the surfaces are not all scratched up. Here's some shots of my old plastics. When you take a closer look at this fender, you can see that it's really scratched up. If you apply graphics over this area, it's not going to look good. If you have an area that just has a few small gashes, like the corner of this number plate, use a razor or file to shave down the rough spots. Start by doing a dry fit. While the graphic is still attached to its backing paper, hold it up to the plastic. Take a look at the positioning of the cutouts and edges. Graphics usually do not fit perfectly along every edge and around every bolt hole, so it's important to think about what area is the most critical and make sure that area gets positioned correctly. With these graphics, it's most critical to me that the red line is positioned well, since this line will continue onto the side number plate. I also want to make sure that the bolt hole cutouts match up. Peel away just a portion of the backing and apply the graphic along the first edge. This area of the shroud has a high peak that runs horizontally from one end to the other. I'm laying the entire graphic across this peak and then rubbing it down, always moving from the middle of the graphic towards the edge. Go slow and be observant. If you go too fast, you might trap some air under the graphic and end up with an air blister. Your fingers should be moving across the graphic like an inkjet printer printing lines on a sheet of paper. Back and forth, just one line at a time. This first piece went on nicely, but there's a bit of an overlap here on the front corner. If I just leave it, it will collect dirt and probably begin peeling away. Use a razor to remove the extra. Peel the graphic up just a bit and then slide a sharp razor along the edge of the plastic, using the plastic as a cutting guide. Cut away the extra and then stick it back down. If you are careful, the entire graphic should be positioned well and there should be no air blisters or creases. Use a heat gun and hairdryer to blast the graphic with some heat and give it a good rub down. The extra heat will help the graphic adhere to the plastic. It will also make it easier to remove any small creases along the edges. Follow the same method for the side number plates, rear fender, fork guards, and swing arms. When doing the side number plates, it's a good idea to remove the seat if the top edge of the graphic has to wrap under the edge of the seat. When you're doing the front number plate, remove it from the bike. If you don't, the front brake line will be in the way, which will make it difficult to position the graphic. Front fenders can be tricky because they often have many sharp angles and they curve in multiple directions. Here, the design of your graphic can make a big difference. Graphics shaped like long strips will work better than a graphic that's large, flat, and wide. If you've ever tried to wrap a round present with wrapping paper, you know it won't go on smoothly. Here, I make sure the front point of the graphic is aligned with the tip of the front fender, and then I apply the graphic across the highest peak. From there, I work my way down the left and right side of that peak, into the valley, and then up the next peak. I'm working from the middle of the fender out towards the edges. Once all the graphics are in place, remember to use the heat gun and go over everything, giving it a good rub down. Make sure there's no creases along the edges. These will collect dirt and water and may cause your graphic to peel away later. Now, even if you're extremely careful, you may end up with a few bad spots. Here, I have this air blister in the middle of my side number plate. If the blister was just an inch from the edge, I would carefully peel the graphic up, press it out, and stick it back down. However, this one's so far in, I don't want to risk peeling the graphic up and deforming it by stretching it out. So instead, I'll just take my sharp razor and poke a little hole. This will allow a path for the air to escape. Now the graphic is flat, but you can see there's still a bit of deformity. A quick blast from the heat gun can help smooth it out. Here's the finished job. Everything came out almost perfect on this one. It's hard to get it 100%. Graphics just don't always match up perfectly, and applying flat graphics on curved surfaces is a battle with geometry and physics that you're unlikely to win. If you've ever seen close-up shots of a professional's bike, you'll notice their graphics are not 100% perfect either. If you're able to get the job done with less than 1 or 2 air blisters or 1 or 2 creases, then you're doing a darn good job in my opinion. Well, that's it. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, please like it and remember to subscribe. Check out my other dirt bike videos here on Go Hobby, and thanks for watching everyone.